Good evening. Happy back to school night, Leading Edge families. Here's Ms. Goldman coming to you from my office where I seem to be coming to you from all the time these days. For those of you that have been here at back to school night in person in the past, at least it is a lot cooler inside our homes than it usually is outside. So hopefully you're comfortable and enjoying back to school night. I just have a few things that I want to go over with you all together, and then I will hand you over to the hands of your capable teachers. So hopefully you can see my slides, and my slides say brave leaders and brave learners, and that is our theme. I've said this a couple of times this year, and so I want to talk about bravery for just a little bit. So I am a big Breonna Brown fan, if any of you guys like listening to her or reading her, and she talks about bravery in a couple of ways that I found very useful. She talks about new things as being new and wobbly, and back to school night in a virtual platform is definitely a little wobbly. She talks about brave as being uncomfortable sometimes. And she calls out that hard things are hard. This year is gonna be an interesting challenge. It's probably gonna be hard for all of us. And I've said it a million times, we will come through this pandemic on the strength of our community. So here are some things that we've been saying to each other here on campus, to your kids, and we wanna all be saying in order to really help us think about how to get through this time that's difficult and uncomfortable bravely. So what Brené Brown says, what Dr. Brown says is she says, first of all, normalize the feeling that it's weird. So when you're having that moment of like, oh my goodness, I can't get into the Zoom call and the calendar won't work, and oh my God, I know what I'm feeling. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling anxious. Take that moment and take a breath with yourself and with your kiddos. And I think that's going to help with the next two steps, which are, first of all, put it in perspective. Okay, I can't get into the Zoom call, but hey, I have the air conditioning on right now and it's 105 out. So I'm pretty happy about that. Last step, reframe our expectations. We are not expecting perfection from anyone this year. We're not expecting perfection from our students, from our parents, from our teachers. We're coming together as a community. But if it takes a couple of tries to figure out how to get the right system to get you into your Zoom call, that is okay. You are not less than. None of us are less than because we didn't master distance learning the first time around. So important to remember these things. Dr. Wood, our executive director, also gave us some tips for braving distance learning. He reminds us to find our squad, and those are the people that support you. Here at Leading Edge, we're a pretty tight squad, and we all like to support each other. But looking around at your parent community and saying to each other, "Where's my squad? Who can help me?" Reframing your perspective, and I just want to compliment our Leading Edge community on doing such an amazing job with that. Our grace under pressure from every corner, parents, students, teachers, since we started school a week ago has been beautiful to see. And I'm so inspired by how well people have come together to help each other and just have perspective. Like, okay, it's not perfect, but we're making progress. So thank you for that and keep doing it. Keep a hold of your guide. And so I'm going to present to you some tools that can be a guide for you during this time. And just remember that you always have tools and supports. And again, practice grace and patience, probably with yourself more than anyone, but we all have to remind ourselves to be graceful and patient because we're all engaged in this crazy new experience. And all of those qualities together make us brave leaders and brave learners. So that's our mission for this year. Be brave, do these hard things, and do them as well as we can, recognizing that it's all a learning process. So the message that I have for our students, and I said this to them in the first day of school, and I'm going to say it again, is for all ways that we want to think about it, we are back to school. I know it doesn't look the same. I know we're not on campus, but we are back to school. We are not in that crisis place we were back in March. We're in a different place. We've had a lot of time to prepare. Not a lot of time to prepare. We've had a little time to prepare. We're trying to make it better every day, but we are back to school. School counts. Your grades count. Classes are not optional, and you need to learn. And I really appreciate the message that our governor sent when he announced that all schools were going to start in distance learning in California. He said something to the effect of, health and safety are non-negotiable, but so is learning. So students and families, we as a team are going to do everything we can to make that true, and we need you in on that goal as well. And so far this year, I've been so impressed. Students, you've been troubleshooting. Parents, you've been troubleshooting. We are getting into those classes. We are making learning happen. So very, very proud of you. A couple other details that I want to go over. So one is that parents, we've been having like parent nights every Wednesday. I'm going to slow it down a little bit, keep our stamina up, and take it to every other week. So our next one will be, what does it say on that screen? September 2nd. It's very tiny on my screen. And then we'll go every other Wednesday after that, 5:30 to 6:30, and I'll post the topics in advance on our calendar and in the weekly updates. I'm not deciding the topics yet because I really want your experiences to inform that. And so I'll be getting, info from you guys on what you need, and we'll go from there. Make sure you're following us on social media. I've been a little more quiet on social media lately than I have been normally, but I hope that you will be joining us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's the same content that goes to each, but it's a great way to feel connected to community. So hopefully you're following us on social media. And then I was talking about keep a hold of your guide. So I sent this out last Friday. I'll continue to send it out, but we have some resources for you that are very, very useful in terms of keeping a hold of your sanity during distance learning. And I included a little screenshot there. They can all be accessed from our leading edge le.natomascharter.org website. And they're right there on the front page, calling it a digital backpack. You might have seen that term coming from NUSD as well. And there's two things there. There's like a one pager with all your links, plus there's a little slide deck with videos and links to YouTube and all those good things. So all your links are kind of in one place. If you're ever stuck, that's a great place to go. And then last but not least, I just want to remind you that we're going to be asking for feedback a lot over the course of the next couple of months. We'll try not to overwhelm you, but the more that you can give us that information, it's the better we're going to do to respond appropriately to the needs of our students and our families. So those are just my little details. Before I go, there are some other folks that you're not going to see tonight that I want to make sure you know. So first off, we have our Library Media Center team, Ms. Predel and Mrs. Kelly. They are really instrumental in helping keep our school running behind the scenes right now, helping us with a lot of our tech, but they're also instrumental in making sure your kids are reading. And so they are having weekly book pickup and drop-off times, and all the information is on the slide, and teachers will post it to their Schoology pages as well, because we want parents and students to be able to access books, like actual paper books. Many of you already know Mrs. Curtis. Mrs. Curtis is our social and emotional counselor that works with Leading Edge. This year she'll have another awesome intern from Sac State, Mr. Roman, working with her. Her contact information and her office hours are there, and she also will have it posted in Schoology and various other places. She's a great contact for if your child is struggling and needs some support with managing the emotions and the feelings of distance learning, and she can give you some tips on that. And last but not least, our front office staff. They are here, they're in the building, they are working hard. You probably know them. We have Mrs. Schmidt, who's our registrar, Mrs. Honeycutt, who's our front office coordinator, Mrs. Matson-Bose, who knows everything about everything always, and has worked with us forever, Mrs. Duque, who handles our attendance, and Mrs. Loesch, who also kind of supports that, like whatever you need, she can answer. What I've included on the slide is their first initial and last name. That's how you email them, and the phone number to the front office. I'm going to encourage you all always to go through them also when you're trying to reach me, especially if you're trying to call me, because my phone never works and theirs can always get to me. So they're a great resource in that respect, and they really are here to help. So last but not least, we all want to be back together soon. So the most important step in being back together in person soon is to make sure that we are staying healthy and keeping our numbers in Sacramento down. And so wear your mask, wash your hands, and above all, be brave. And Leading Edge, you've done such an amazing job of doing that this first crazy week of school. I'm so proud. I'm so impressed. I'm so humbled by our community and how our community is being brave together. Let's keep it up. Enjoy back to school night.